Welcome back to Creating the Future Live. I'm delighted that we've got Highways, Lucy, Car and Chris with us. And we're going to have a panel discussion to hear their views on questions to do with working in art and design. So my first question, and it's actually to any of you who'd like to join in. We talked in our individual interviews about luck and the fact that actually it isn't just luck, it's actually opportunities that arrive and how you perhaps maximize those opportunities. How could you be in the best position to exploit an opportunity or an example of when that's happened to you? Anybody?
So I've always felt like just staying as open as you can be to opportunities, because they're going to be conversations that you have with people that develop this luck stat that you've kind of got, where you're going to trust your gut eventually with certain conversations with clients and individuals. So the more conversations you're having, the more of a sort of buffed stat you're going to have over time to be able to trust that gut instinct.
That's great, thank you. Can I come to you, Car, now? Have you got any thoughts on how to best exploit opportunities when they arrive, maybe to create some of this luck, this elusive luck?
I think opportunities, when they do present themselves, you might not recognise them as opportunities. So I would say just follow up on everything. If and again, like Highways says, trust your gut instinct. If it feels good, if it feels right, go for it. You've generally got nothing to lose. Opportunity, try it. See where it takes you. I've had lots of jobs that have started off small and then gone on to bigger and better things. So try it all.
That's really good advice. I've got a question now. I think probably people who work in creative industries, maybe who are in front of cameras or perform, are clearly confident and happy to talk to people and not shy. My instinct suggests that maybe people who are involved with design or making aren't necessarily naturally outgoing. Maybe they are more shy. But it strikes me that being good with people seems to be a pretty important skill if you're in a portfolio career or trying to start out in a business. Does that make sense? Do you think that that's true? Any thoughts on that, people?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, I think you grow in confidence. Certainly if you go to art college. I mean, when you go to art college, you get grilled about your decisions and you have to stand up in front of your peers and defend what you do. And that is such good training, because quite honestly, if you don't believe in what you do, then how is anybody else going to? And I think art college training does help with confidence, definitely.
Chris, would you say you're naturally a shy person?
I don't think I'm shy now. I think deep down I probably am, because I am still shy, but I've overcome it. I've overcome it because I've had to.
Lucy, can I come to you? So it strikes me that in our one-to-one discussion, you talked about other work you do, as well as the jewellery making. And how do you think that's helped you if you're doing other jobs and working with the public?
Yeah, so I do have to speak to people I don't know all the time. And I used to be really shy. But when I graduated, I went into work straight away, and I was trained a lot in how to talk to people. And then I worked in retail, and then I was kind of having to talk to people all the time, which was scary, but it really helped me to talk about my own work and to just kind of be confident enough to say hi to a random stranger.
Can I just come back as well, because I missed out the most important thing for me was my hairdressing training. My 15 years as a hairdresser, I learnt about the public, and they are very variable, and 15 years of dealing with the public really helped me to be able to present myself.
And Car, I think you probably also had your fair share of time in retail in your past. Did that help you, do you think?
Yeah, 100%. Just working in a shoe shop or a clothes shop. It really gears you up towards speaking and communicating with people, which is really useful in the creative industry, I think, in finding, especially if you're taking a commission of someone, to learn how to understand that brief and learn what the client actually wants. I think that's the main thrust that you have to take away from that. That enables you to do your job properly. If you don't know, you can't come up with the answer if you don't know what the question is, kind of thing. So yeah, working in a shop, just interacting with people, all good life skills, and that's a good thing about going to university as well. Just learning life skills, learning how to pay your bills, and interact with other students that are living in the same house as you, that kind of thing.
That's really, really helpful. And it leads well to my next question. I asked all of you individually about the great things about your work and maybe the more challenging things. So this question is sort of shaped around that. In a portfolio career, or certainly if you're starting to manage your own business, you're going to need to know how to manage a budget, negotiate with organizations or venues or agents or retailers. How did you build those business skills? Especially if all you really want to do is make your art. Lucy, can I come to you first? Because I know we talked about this. So actually running your business as well as making your jewelry, how did you build those business skills?
I think it was just kind of a bit of everything. So university was geared up to being an independent brand. That's what they wanted you to do. So we got a few workshops in kind of pricing, and we were kind of told to network a lot, and we had nice people come to our exhibitions and we'd get to talk to them. And then working, I was taught about like pricing, and I've always worked for small companies, except for that retail job, obviously. But so it's just kind of pick it up along the way. And I've got a good network of friends who are also jewelers, so we just chat and get to know what's going on and stuff.
That's good. Hi Wes, what about you? I mean, the business skills to run your business sounds like it's quite a growing business even now. So what about you and business skills? How did that happen?
For me, it was kind of like springboarded off of working as a graphic designer in companies and sort of just testing the water with risk versus reward on certain products. And that was quite late in the line as well. It was mainly just continuing to do a lot of digital art, and then I decided to try selling some digital art. It was quite an organic kind of lesson in a way, like finding out about talking to a customer where there's no third party. You're not working for a company anymore. It's just you, and you're going to sell the thing. That's incredibly rewarding, but it's also really scary to start with. So mostly for me, it was just exposure to people coming to me. I was quite fortunate in the beginning. I just carried on drawing, doing what I wanted to do, and eventually people came to me and said, "Can you do that for me?" And I think that's probably it's not uncommon.
Yes.
People get.
I'll come back to that point because I've got a question about business in a few moments.
Okay.
Can I ask you, Chris? Because I was surprised and pleased that your business, you have employees. You're a small business with staff. Did you have business skills before you set this company up, or did you have to learn them? How did you get on?
Absolutely none. I was terrified of that side of it, but it just evolved really. I think ongoing training is really important, and I did do a course years ago that was just sort of the fundamentals about how to run a business, how to do it. But I think mainly it just evolved.
What strikes me as interesting is the fact that there are always quite generic business courses around, and it may be that actually if you're want to work in the creative industries, you think something special is required. But I think initially probably the basic business skills are ones that are needed. I know that occasionally people say to me, "Oh yes, all I want to do is make my art," and that's great. But the reality is, I think if if you're trying to build something, a living doing this, then you're going to need those skills. Something that was said, which I'm also keen, I'll ask you first, Car, and it's to do with building a client base, customer base, and actually repeat business. Is there a skill? How do you do that? And is there a knack or a skill? How do you do that? Repeat business and a customer base.
Repeat business. If you ever get a quiet moment, and it's always a good idea to go back. If you get a quiet moment, you can develop your skills, or you can go back and just touch base with old clients. And it's not a case of, I've done a job for you, it's done, I've parked it, I've pushed it to one side. Go back to them, give them a call, or just send them an email and let them know that you're still around to help them if they ever need any more services. And quite often they do. They just need a reminder that you're still around and you're still you're still open for business, if you like. So I do get quite a lot of repeat clients, repeat customers.
That's really helpful, because I think probably each of you has a certain niche, and therefore to build that's important. Chris, your work, I'm guessing, but some of the scale of your work is quite large scale. So do you get repeat business okay, so we now know that the window display did you some good in retail, the window shop, but actually, do you get repeat business, and how do you encourage that?
Well, I have consultants that I work with.
Tell us more.
Sorry?
Tell us a bit more. What sort of consultants?
Art consultants who deal with companies that want art. So there's a variety. There's lots of different art consultants, and I'm with quite a few, and they look for people. And I'm on the internet a lot because I've been blogged a lot. My work was featured on My Modern Met. It was an art and design blog, and it just exploded. And since then, I've had work all over the world. But I do have, I have my customers in terms of the consultants. They come back for repeats. Yeah. I sell a lot of panels privately as well. And they occasionally come back for repeats. And I've just started to, because Lily, my daughter who works for me, she's in marketing. So I've got somebody marketing I've got somebody who does marketing.
That's really good.
I know. I have to pinch myself sometimes.
Your business has clearly grown a lot, which is good. I was going to ask you about repeat business, because your work seems to be particularly niche. But does that guarantee repeat business?
If you can get a niche with a client, which is what I've done with a few, then they will usually be quite keen to grow that, especially if it gets the traction that they want. I think so. I also wanted to just go off of one of the things that Clara had said about touching base with clients and stuff. It's such a good piece of advice. And with the way social media is these days, there's no reason not to be able to stay on their radar, especially if you're on Instagram or Facebook or something like that. Just something as simple as engaging with their content keeps you constantly on their radar and keeps conversation going. So it can be sometimes a little bit daunting, the idea of starting a conversation with nothing to say, knowing that really the underlying thing is, do you want to work with me again? That can feel a bit false sometimes, I think, or a bit nervous making. So
I'm going to bring Lucy in partly because I suspect that the younger you are in this business, the more likely you're to have social media skills and be savvy. Tell us a bit about what you think about future business or building your brand or building the customer base. What do you do?
I use Instagram every day, and that's how I get most of my orders. So it's really good for me. I don't have a particularly large following, but somehow they seem to find me. And word of mouth as well. But it's mostly social media. And it's good to kind of you can send out promotional codes and stuff like that, and touch in with like your customers again if they want to reorder and stuff. So it's cool. Yeah, it's good.
Very good. I've got two more questions, really, partly because we're running out of time. One of the questions is to do with the current situation we're in globally with the coronavirus. Many people watching this video will either be currently not at school or not at college. And of course, they're going to be working hard, I hope, on their coursework. But with that extra time, what would you suggest that people are doing at the moment, if they have extra time at home, to help them in their future career in art and design? And I'll start with you first, Car, please.
Oh, okay. If you've got a quiet moment, I mentioned it before, but learn some new skills. Pick up a new program, and just learn it. And if you learn something every day, that day is not wasted at all. And so you might be stuck at home. The other thing you could do is put your work online. Lucy mentioned Instagram. I use Instagram a lot as well. And what we do is really, really visual. And it for platforms like Instagram or Facebook, it's perfect to showcase your work, get your work out there, and get that feedback as well from people, which is so crucial. And platforms like Instagram are really good because they encourage you to interact with people as well, which,
Really good.
The way Instagram's set up, the more you interact, the more coverage you get, the more people will see your work.
Yes.
So it's really good practice as well for the real world, if you like. And like Lucy says, I totally agree. I get quite a lot of custom via Facebook and Instagram. So it's a really, really useful, free platform, which doesn't cost you anything but your time. So that you can use that as a learning zone as well.
That's very good. Chris, can I ask you, I mean, if you're in lockdown at home, are there things that you'd suggest a young person might do?
I think you've got time to really, really look. I think, we see stuff all the time, but we don't really look and really understand what we're looking at. Just spend some time looking at one thing and talking to yourself about it. Just really look, draw it, just scrutinize things, I honestly, I think, it's a luxury to be able to stop and just really look.
Good point. Lucy, what about you? If one recommendation that young people might be doing in some of the time, their enforced time we all have at the moment?
I think now, if you don't have a business, I think don't go on Instagram. Well, obviously go on it as much as you want, but it's probably, there's this argument now that a lot of creative people are using Instagram for their inspiration, which I think is really sad because it's so fast. Maybe kind of you can't go to a library, try and get a book or look in something that's physical and try and get inspiration that way, and just learn about other artists and designers, and that way you kind of see what you like. Because I spent so much time doing that when I was learning, and I still do.
Hi, Wes, what about you? If within enforced time young people watch this, what might they be doing to help their potential future careers?
Well, I think there's been some really good points about focusing on what it is that you want to do and growing your skills. And I think something that Lucy had said was very important there early on. Don't go on Instagram to grow things, or because you'll end up comparing yourself, and it can be quite damaging early on going on and seeing how great other people are doing, and it's just this lofty kind of height that you can't feel or see that you'd be able to reach. So definitely focusing on something more physical, just doing finding your niche in a way, and really trying to feel out what it is that you enjoy and why you enjoy it. One other thing I would say, and you would need to go online or on Instagram for this, is if you have anybody you look up to that you see doing something you would like to do in 1 year, 5 years, etc., talk to them. A lot of them feel like they're high on this pedestal and they're not going to answer you, so you don't talk to them. But I've spoken to so many high caliber artists now, and a lot of them just want to talk about what they love doing, and they've always dropped these pearls of wisdom you wouldn't expect because they're just it's coming naturally to them. So yeah, no one's off limits. Go and talk to people.
Very good. Okay, my last question, and it may be I asked you this question in the individual interviews, but actually, if I was to ask you for one or two top tips for young people watching this who are looking to develop their career, build a career in art and design, what would that be? So, top tips. Hi, Wes. I'll come back to you first, please.
Yeah, cool. Okay, my two top tips, I think, would be something that a phrase that I think must have been made popular by the Greek goddess of victory, and then later by the philosopher Shia LaBeouf. Just do it. Like, choose one thing and do it, and then see how you feel about it afterwards. If it's not for you, it will be in your heart. And the second thing I would say, because there's so many traps, especially in illustration, that you can fall into really easily and then find yourself 5 years down the line with nothing really that you can do stuff with or make money from. Educate yourself on IP laws, intellectual property, because that's so important. There's the fan art trap that you can end up in, because you've got people who already would love to see, Mickey Mouse, Sailor Moon. There's loads of these fun little challenges happening on Instagram and Facebook. But if you do just that, you're not doing anything that's yours. You're repeating work in your style, and then you can't really, I don't think, grow from there. So find something that's yours and educate yourself on intellectual property laws.
That's a really good point. I should just remind people watching that if you follow the link at the bottom of the page, you can ask questions. Lucy, what top tips would you give?
I would say do what you really enjoy doing, and don't put pressure on yourself, because you've got loads of time. So, and you can change your mind like I did. So it's fine to do that.
So do you mean put pressure on knowing exactly what you want to do? I mean, I
Yeah,
think all your work sounds pressurized. Everyone here is working hard.
Pressure on knowing what you want to do right now, because it's like everyone's kind of like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? But I think you can take a year out, there's no rush, just kind of decide. And the Art Foundation year is really good for that as well. So
very good. And Chris, top tips from you, what would you suggest?
Well, again, don't be in a hurry. People develop at different rates. There's no way I would have been ready to go to develop a career like I've built now if I went to college at 18. I needed to grow. I needed life experience. You need to just live a little bit and understand the world a little bit, so that you know that you really want to do this, because it's hard. It's really hard. There's a lot of knockbacks, and you have to have a lot of faith in yourself. And I think you need to have a bit of life experience to really appreciate it.
That's really good, Chris. Some good answers there. So finally, Car, can I ask you, what would your top tips be for people watching this who want a career in art and design?
I think a career in art and design is a bit like, I liken it to going into a buffet restaurant. So you go into a buffet restaurant and you don't just go for the chicken wings, or you don't just go for the noodles, or you don't just go for the pizza. You want to try everything. So if you're like me anyway, I just want to try everything. So I would say approach art and design like you would do if you went into a buffet restaurant. Just sample everything. It's there for you to take. It's there for you to taste. And if you don't like it, you never have to eat it again. So yeah, try it all. If you don't like it, it's fine. There's no right or wrong. Just find out what you like. So it kind of echoes what some of the other guys have been saying. The other thing is try and learn about business as well as you go along. It's really important, because people in the creative industry, they're really good at what they do. They're creative, but their minds might not be tuned in to make money out of it, if you like, to seize those opportunities, to really earn a good living out of it. So learn as much as you can about business as well along the way, because that will really help you do what you do. do what you love doing.
Thank you, Carl. That's really sound advice. We've come to the end of our programme, so I'd like to make some thanks. First of all, to our excellent guests. So thank you to Highwares, Lucy, Car, and to Chris for sharing time with us for the programme. I'd like to thank Mark Manford from Peterborough Films for his technical skill, ongoing support and wonderful can-do attitude. I need to thank Stefan Fraser from Festival Bridge and their partners for making this actually possible, and on whose website you can find this resource and other great resources. But most of all, I think I need to thank you for choosing to watch this video and to take time to do that and hopefully ask questions on the link below. And I'm hoping that you've learned things and will continue to strive for a career in art and design. Thank you very much.